Hi guys, so welcome back to the new episode of Building Blocks. So I'm Afif, your host, and with me today I have Rafiq. Alright, so Rafiq, I'm sure being here in Cradle, you've been through a lot of pitching sessions. So would you mind sharing with us some of the most successful pitches that you've been with so far?
I think if you ask people from other VCs, investors, right, they will always repeat the same thing, the same mantra. There are three things, right? First thing is short.
Short,
Second one is sweet.
sweet.
The third one is concise.
Alright.
Alright,
So
then-
you don't like those pitching that are way too draggy, too much information.
Okay, the basic thing about how, and my mentor always told me that if someone pitch and then they keep on dragging, right? Basically, it's like they try to come up with the fluff to cover up loopholes.
Sure. Oh my god, that makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense if you're in school, right? You want to talk, elaborate what you know. But for us, we just want to see whether you have the idea or not.
Okay.
Because meaning that if you could just straight answer the question right from the get-go, and that's exactly what we're looking for,
Alright.
then that means you know what you're talking about.
Sure.
Because if you keep talking and then you just bug things out, okay, you have to go back to this, like,
Making up new stories just because you don't have the
Yeah.
answer to the question.
the longer you talk, right, the more risk that you try to sway us
Okay.
astray.
Alright. Being said that, right, like you mentioned about some founders trying to cover up, being very draggy and trying to cover up the, let's say, mistakes, trying to be fluffy and all. What is the best way to say that, I don't have the answer to that question yet? Instead of just, being draggy and talkative, trying to hide the information that I have not gathered yet.
For me, just be transparent and honest. Just say that, this is something that you haven't thought about.
Okay.
And investors, right, they are not like going to eat you alive or something like that.
Okay.
I mean, by right, you should know what you need to do when you come to the pitch. You have to prepare. Practice, right? And also, you need to know people attention span is really short. So that's why most of the pitching will be 5 minutes. Within that 5-minute speech, you have to anticipate what they're going to see, what they're going to think, what they're going to ask, and then you're going to be fully prepared.
Okay, sure.
Because at the end of the day, your pitch, that the one that you designed, you came up with a story, right? And then from the story, you can actually predict what they're going to ask. For example, if you're talking about the problem, right? Then for the possibility of investors ask, is this like they're going to ask, okay, who's going to use this product, for example? For me personally, if I'm going to see like a health tech kind of solution, for example, like there's a screening, right? The first thing that I will ask is that who's going to use this product? Is it the medical lab? Is it the hospital? Is it the doctors? Or is it the patients, right? These things, knowing all these things, right, you can anticipate already. Then you come out like, okay, this one is going to be used by who, blah, blah, blah. And then the solution is then we're going to ask like, okay, how people are actually using it? And then how exactly like macam, what's the difference before and after? So you have to let us know all those information.
Now, let's move on to the funding avenues in Malaysia. So, can we talk about what are the funding avenues available for startups in Malaysia? Maybe the traditional or the non-traditional one, I heard.
Okay, so basically for the traditional way is, you can ask your father, mother, friends, family, right? You can just like, hey, pinjam sikit duit, something like that.
And then when it comes to
Bootstrapping is normal, okay? The next thing that the other options that you have is just like I mentioned earlier, which is the venture capital, where you need to understand a bit like, in Malaysia, we have a few firms that are going for early stage startup funding. Where to look for is for you to research, do your research, right? Because when you do research, then you know what are they focusing on. There are some doing logistics, there are some very agnostics, and you should know what they could bring you to the table. Because looking for investors, from what my mentor told me, that if you're looking for investors, it's like you're looking for who you're going to bet with.
okay.
Alright, another thing is that the other avenues that we have is ECF. We have a few ECF operators in Malaysia. And for ECF, you need to know why you fundraise. Because for ECF, it's a bit different compared to VC, where ECF, you try to attract the public to invest in you. It can be firms, it can be angel investor, and it's very as simple as retail investors. Alright, and then another thing we have a P2P. It's basically like other than going to banks where you have to go through all the processes and you have a higher risk of getting a rejection, then you can go for P2P.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something like macam you go to a platform where they do all those like assessing the proposal that you have. But instead of acting like a bank where they always expect a return, they are very much a bit like, okay, they understand that you are a startup.
They are like more lenient as compared to banks.
Yes, and also they
Okay.
have like their own structure of doing that lah. And last and not least, so we have the government grant. We have usually the government agencies that will come out the grants, right? And also grants, it depends on which agency that you're applying for and which product that you are going to go to. Sometimes it can be as what people deem as a free money, but sometimes it's not. For example, in Cradle, we have two types of grant, right? Which is CIP Spark and CIP Sprint. For CIP Spark, it's a conditional grant, meaning that if you fulfill all the deliverables, then it's a free money for you.
Okay.
But if you're not, then there are other possibilities, which is it going to be terminated or partial completion. Where if you get terminated, the worst case scenario is that you have to pay back, right? And CIP Sprint Conditional Convertible Grant is basically the same thing applies, but there's a huge caveat where the money that we give to you in the future, if you fundraise, we have the right but not obligated to convert into equity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So those are the options that you have
Then it
if you're looking
becomes
for
an
funding.
investment lah.
Yes.
The grant
In a way,
became
yes.
Can you talk about what are the common mistakes that startup founders do in fundraising?
Alright, the first thing that they always do when they are fundraising, right? They don't know whether they are fundraising over the value or it's under value. So basically, before you fundraise, you need to have in mindset that, okay, this is the number that I'm looking for and what the money will be used for. And then you have the basic idea lah, right? Because if you don't know what, you just fundraise for fun, right? Nobody fundraise for fun. You always need to know the reason and why you fundraise and how much you're fundraising for.
Sure.
For example, the one thing that I know is that there's this one startup in Malaysia, they fundraise, right? Okay, when they fundraise, they usually have, okay, I'm going to fundraise this because I want to expand to this country. Okay, I'm raising this fund for this exact value of money because I want to expand and you want to enter into a new market where it's a different customer, something like that. So you need to know exactly what's the money to be used for.
So it is best to have like a firm goal, like, you know, or a firm objective of why you want to fundraise.
Yes. And also, if you don't know what you're going to fundraise for, right, and whether you are overvalued or undervalued, is that you're going to dilute your ownership. Because whenever you fundraise, you're going to give up a bit of your ownership, right? So if you keep on fundraising for no reason, right, or for all the wrong reasons,
And then at the
then
end
you're
of the
just
day,
letting go all your ownership.
oh my god! And then at the end of the day, when you do the, you know, more fundraising, especially those fundraising the, you know, like failed fundraising, and then you are slowly removing the percentage of your ownership of your own
Yeah,
startup,
one day
right?
you just like lose your ownership.
Oh my god! Alright. Let's say I've done my application, I got my grant, I got the funds and all. So can you talk about why is it important for me to maintain a good relationship with my investor, and maybe you can give us what are the strategies for me to maintain a strong bond between me and the investors even after the funding.
Okay, it's not only just about the investors that already invested in you, but you should keep on maintaining that relationship. And how to do it is very much simple. You have to like keep them updated of what you're doing, right? What's your achievement and what's your struggles, and also what's the mitigation method of reducing the risk. Okay, so if you always keep in touch with them, right, then they say, okay, actually this startup, he might not invest in you at the first place, and then once you already shared the growth and everything, right, they might have, oh, maybe I should invest in this, right?
Okay.
So that's one. The second thing is that
first thing is to keep updating
Yep.
In a way? Alright, okay.
Like keep them in touch so they will know the progress that you have.
And they feel closer to you.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
way,
yeah.
right? Okay.
Okay, and then the next thing that you need to do is basically, if you have the opportunity to get in touch with any investors, then you might want to keep in close contact with them, maybe get them as your mentor.
Sure.
This is pretty much relevant if you are going into something that is very niche. For example, if you're in fintech, and then you found somebody who are somewhat an angel investor, but they also had experience in financial industries. So you talk to them and then you ask, okay, what's your, in your experience, what kind of customer that you should be targeting more? They might want to, because these people, right, when once you ask them questions, they have this like, they are very much open to share you what they know. And they might tell you things that you don't know, and now you know. So when you know what to do. And also the reasons why you should keep in touch with this investor and everything. There's a lot of like benefits that you can get. For example, these people might be the reason for you to say that they have secured the new funds, right? And they're looking to fundraise, they're looking to invest. Then you might be the first person that is going to be on their mind, right? Last thing, you should keep a relationship with these people because they are going to be the person that helps you grow, right? With all the values that they have, with all the
Experience.
mullahs that they have, the experience, you should consider of, attending all these conferences, event, networks, right? Where they could share with you the networks that they have, and this will help you and propel you towards to grow to that certain kind of level.
Alright, so thank you very much, Rafiq, for taking your time and being here, talking to me, like teaching me a lot of things from different types of grants that we have here in Malaysia and why we should maintain a good relationship with the investors. Okay, so before we end this session, anything you want to add, Rafiq?
Alright, so basically, to end this note, right, what you can do in order for you to find out more about our grants, if you have more questions, you want to seek more info, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow our social media, whether it's Cradle or MYStartup. And look out for more events where we have like Cradle Grant Clinic, and our one-to-one session as well. So back to you.
And that is all, guys. I'm Afif and this is Rafiq. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and comment below to let us know what are your thoughts. And don't forget to build your dreams one block at a time.